Hello, everyone here. We're starting this last session of the day with 3 women photographers. The platform here and the conversation is actually ending a conversation on women photographers, so it's a big topic, and I'm really very pleased to welcome those 3 marvelous women photographers. We are going to start with Camille Leveque. Camille Leveque, you are a French photographer. You are a self-taught in photography, and you explore the medium since 2015. Your work is mainly based in on your Armenian roots and your family history. You created a fictive photographer collective composed of 7 female members inspired by your own family members. So today there is no book. And that's why I wanted to invite you, actually, because you are working on your first book that will kind of close the first chapter of your photographer life career. And I was wondering if you could tell us, detail a bit more your project, presenting us your project.
So hello. So today I will present my practice as a whole rather than a book. A finished product, but there is a project of book. So my name is Camille Leveque, and I'm a visual artist. I approach themes such as memory, identity, cultural heritage, intimacy, perception, the border between reality and fiction, with the family as the cornerstone of my research. My practice confronts media such as photography, video, field recording, collage, and installation. So it all started 5 years ago in 2014. And as you said, I'm self-taught and I'm a compulsive worker. So I ended up with a massive production that I didn't know what to do with. So I needed to focus and divide my work to avoid confusing my audience. So I decided to create a collective, a fictive collective named Leveque, through which until today I work under 7 names, my own and 6 aliases. So the idea of aliases came quite organically because my work has always been very influenced by literature rather than visual arts. So I've been influenced by, I grew up with Fernando Pessoa, Boris Vian, Georges Sand, Romain Gary, or Les Exercices de Raymond Queneau, to name a few. So it's a way for me to question the role and the place of the artist in their practice and maybe their success as well. And understanding fast the demand in the industry with work that are maybe more commercial, more pleasing visually, or others that are more research or engaged. It was also a way to deal with rejection because sometimes my work would get rejection, but it was under an alias, so there would be a distance. I wouldn't take it so personally. But also at the same time, in 2017, one of my alias got a bit of success, and I ended up being kind of jealous of her, which is ridiculous, but it shows the depth of distance I had put between myself and my aliases. So it's definitely allowing not to restrain myself to one genre, which is great, and allowing me to experiment and therefore to fail. And I think failure is essential for an artist because without failure you have no growth. And because I am self-taught, there is a lot of failure in my work. There is a lot of, it's very experimental. Sometimes I stumble and I can do so without fearing to tarnish my name or my career. So I play a lot with the relationship between reality and fiction. Within the various bodies of work that you can see here, but also with the practice as a whole, actually. So the names that I use are from various family members, my grand aunts, my grandmother, my sisters. But some elements are fake. Fake educations, for instance, in all the biographies, all my aliases, this is a fun fact, are educated. They all went to art school. I'm the only one who has no education. So besides the names, all the elements, like for instance, the birth dates are the one of my nieces, my sisters, They have also, they come from Russia, Armenia, Ukraine, the United States, France, and Lebanon, and Armenia, of course, which is also following either my life or the life of my family members. So each member has a clear, distinct visual identity that is related to the name I'm using. So for instance, one of my grandmother was an activist in Russia, so to her I gave all the works that are somehow linked to politics or social issues. For my grandmother that is Armenian, it's the work on Armenia or cultural heritage in general. Another example is Charlotte. It was supposed to be my name, but at the very last minute my mother changed her mind. So to her I give all the work that is dealing with virtual world, technology, and a very digital visual feel, because it's like working through a sort of digital alter ego, because it was supposed to be me, but it also never existed. So each of the members have an email address, a business card, a specific tone in emails, and a different level in English, for instance. This is a way to illustrate a layered identity and the development of a personal mythology. I'm really, really interested in this idea of personal mythology. This is why I'm building this fantasized conversation within several generations of my family members, and therefore kind of try to work on confronting individual and collective memories. I am myself the granddaughter of a political refugee, so the duty of memory is quite heavy since childhood. And it's an important role for me to create stories to tell history. So the presence of my family members in the construction of my narrative is crucial, because the family memory become tales, and they are distorted by time. The truth gets distorted by the time. So the final form of the project is a bookcase with 7 books, one of the book for each alias and one for the manifesto. So 7, like the 7 letters in Camille, formed by the 7 first letters of each names. So it goes Charlotte, Anna, Marguerite, Ina, Lila, Lucie, etc. Etc. being the manifesto, and a metaphor for endless possibilities in terms of authorship and renewal as an artist, but also as a human being. So it's a way of rejecting the idea of a linear path and embracing all the nuances, all the in-betweens, the gray areas. I also want to celebrate the importance of multiculturalism, especially in times of massive human migrations, and consider this background as a strength rather than a flaw. So my life has been really, really fragmented in different eras, and we would it felt like we were changing settings and surroundings overnight. So this is what I've been trying to do with the work. And express this through the context, but also the form. So the book will be a sort of a Russian doll, if you will, from which you can just grab one book and leave the others, but put together they create a whole. So together the books reveal my name and give a pretty thorough insight into my life and my world. But at the same time, the work that is shown here is just the work under my alias. There is nothing under my name. So I'm at the same time at the core of the project and completely absent from it. So I think what I've been trying to do for the past 5 years is answering this question. Is my identity shaping my practice, or is it the other way around?
Okay, thank you for this big presentation. So we understand it's really a performance. You really experiment for 5 years, 4 years, 5 years on photography, but also, as you were telling me, that you were going on festivals out under one of your alias name, pretending to have an accent and being an Afghan refugee, and you were experimenting either also the fact of being having this name with this accent. What kind of reaction will it have?
It was really interesting, actually, to kind of realize the impact that who I am has on my work. So, for instance, I would be selected for festival or for a prize under several names, which is, I thought, quite interesting. but also depending on who I am. For instance, I was talking about one of my alias that got kind of bigger in France, and it was with the Armenian name, and this one, and I kept hearing that it's very exotic, it's very nice because it seems very folk. But I honestly don't think it would get the same reaction if it was done under my French name, my very French name, Camille Leveque. So it's interesting to see how your identity or even nationality could impact the reception of your work. And yeah, at first I tried to commission my friends and my sisters to go to festival, and my sister helped me at first to get a few awards, but then she told me it's too stressful, and I couldn't afford to fly her out everywhere across Europe. So we stopped doing that, and I decided to take the role of everyone, but it's a very small world, so at some point it was obvious I was everybody, because on festivals I could meet people who knew me under different names.
So you got, now people know.
Yeah, people know.
So in your books, different books, you won't, I mean, they will only be the Camille appearing
Yes.
with the letters, and all the images from each alias. Will you add other things like, I don't know,
Definitely.
revealing your identity?
So definitely for each case you will have the work of the artist, of course, but also some biographical elements from the person to which I borrow the name. So what they were doing, what they were like, some pictures, family pictures, some documents, refugee documents, for instance. And in the manifesto, it's going to be just text. So it's going to be email exchange with curators, for instance, or reviews of my work, or just thoughts that I've been writing down for the 5 years of my understanding of the industry and how it's been helpful or sometimes unhelpful, and what I noticed.
And next project, will it be under your real name, Camille Leveque?
I think after I'm done with the book, I'm going to carry on with using aliases, but this time maybe as a man.
So you never stop.
No.
Okay, thank you, Camille.
Thank you.
Is there questions for Camille? It's kind of an unusual way of questioning, actually, the statue also of artists and of performance. Last question for me, how are you going to deal by finding a publisher? Did you already try to, or?
I have no idea, because I don't really know who would be the right match. So I will see. Maybe someone will come forward, because they're going to be amazed and they're going to reach out.
Well, I hope so for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Camille.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.